Hey there, everyone. What's up? And welcome to the first episode of this new podcast, which is new. So it's 2013 and it's a new year. And I figured, it's time to start up a new podcast with a clean slate because, well, I like talking about games and I like doing it with people who listen to the podcast and with other people. Speaking of other people, though, through a bit of behind the scenes chicanery and a bit of YouTube necromancy, I want to introduce my co-host.
Rise from your grave.
Games of War. Josh, how are things? How have you been? What have you been up to?
Things are good, man. I haven't been up to a whole lot other than working and playing games. Excited for the new year. Excited to be back on a podcast with you. It's good times, and no surprises. Just a normal, boring, everyday life.
All right, nothing crazy happened.
I did get married.
You got married?
I did get married. I wasn't sure if I was going to bring the whole personal, but yeah, might as well. Why not? I got nothing to hide. I've been dating my girlfriend for about 5, 6 years, and I figured, hey, I'm not getting any younger, so I might as well tie the knot. So yeah,
Wow,
I'm a new
congratulations,
man.
man.
Thank you. For those that used to watch my channel, know my son Zach. He's 13 years old now. He's got himself a girlfriend, so things are changing for him too. He's kind of gaming's taking a back seat, man, which is crazy. But he's still gaming, but just not quite as much. So that's been new. Other than that, I mean, that's about it, man. There's nothing been too terribly new since I've talked to everybody last.
So, all right, so this is your official welcome back to YouTube, I guess.
Yes, it is.
And I guess there'll be a channel in the near future.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring the channel back. I don't want to get into too much of the shitstorm that was, but I'm coming back, and I've got a few things to say to a few people, and other than that, the drama will be left behind. Anything that went down will be left behind. I don't even want to. This is the most I'm going to talk about it again, and I'm just going to be positive and look forward to what brought me to YouTube in the first place, which is talking about games and gaming. So I'm excited to bring the channel back, and I hope that people will give it a chance.
All right, man. I'm happy to be doing the podcast again. Happy to welcome you back, and I'm sure a lot of people are hoping you were coming back anyway. So it'll work out. People who are gonna hate anyway. So that's all that needs to be said, I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll hop into our topic. And again, new podcast, new year. So we're gonna be talking about the games we're gonna be interested in for 2013. Well, obviously, we don't know all of them, but there's a good chunk of games that have been announced for this year already, some that have already come out. But, what are you looking forward to, Josh?
Well, starting things off, I think what is it next week? Dead Space 3. Really looking forward to that game. I'm a huge fan of the series. Just went ahead and played through the first one a few months back and just played through the second one again, just to kind of freshen up. I did order the Dead Space 3 Dev Team Edition, which is like a crazy limited edition that comes with a bunch of developer stuff. Comes with the marker, which for those who are familiar with Dead Space, it's kind of the whole the whole game is based around this marker, uh, and what effect it has on people, and just a lot of other cool extras in there. A little bit pricey, $160, and there was only 5,000 pieces made. So when I see stuff like that, it's like I have like an impulse just to buy. But I'm a huge fan of Dead Space, so I'm really looking forward to Dead Space 3 and that Dev Team Edition.
Wow, that's
Definitely,
that's really expensive. Uh,
really expensive.
I've
It
never
is.
I've never actually played a Dead Space game. I've played, I actually it's strange that I haven't because I like the kind of science fiction horror thing that it's got going on. I just haven't ever gotten around to playing one.
Yeah, they're really good because survival horror. I mean, let's be honest. Excuse me. Survival horror is not what it once was, man. I mean, we can be honest with ourselves. Resident Evil 5 was mechanically good, but it just wasn't what it was. Silent Hill, I'm still pretty happy with, even though it's gone through some changes. But in terms of a good science fiction horror series, there's nothing out there, and Dead Space fills the void nicely. Um, I mean, are you interested in the game? You definitely need to play them, dude. I didn't know that you hadn't played them.
No, I'm interested. It's just I have so much stuff to play, and I always see Dead Space around, but like it never was released in Japan,
Hmm.
so it's expensive. It's if like I want to buy a used copy, it's like $50.
Oh, wow.
So it's really it's tempting. Like I see it and I think, oh, I want to buy Dead Space, but I kind of don't want to pay $50 for it. So it's the kind of thing that I just haven't gotten around to playing it.
Yeah, and speaking of expensive, the original Dead Space had a limited edition that I never even knew. I had followed the game, but not too heavily. I just remember seeing some advertisements for it in magazines, and then it seemed like it came out pretty quick. And there was a limited edition for the original Dead Space. Only 1,000 units of this limited edition were produced, and it came with like a DVD copy of Dead Space Downfall, I believe, and like a graphic novel, a hardcover book, and a soundtrack and some few other extras, and that is going for insane amounts of money on eBay. I think it's like well over $1,000, I think, or something crazy. Just a real limited run of 1,000 units produced, and it's just crazy expensive.
Geez, I've never even heard of that. Yeah, I haven't followed Dead Space all that much. I've just kind of seen it. I played the demo and I thought it was pretty fun, but again, it's just expensive. And if $50 is too much, $1,000 for the special edition, way too much for me.
Oh, it's crazy. And I must say, I'm a little worried about Dead Space 3. I played the demo, and the item crafting, the weapon crafting, where you can actually, build custom weapons is awesome. That's a great addition to the series. But this third one includes co-op, and I don't know, it seems to change the game up, and I don't know if it's for the better. There just seemed to be a lot of action. There were some set pieces in there, and there seemed to be an overabundance of like other humans on this planet. And this is the first time the series has been kind of like on an open planet where it wasn't dark all the time. The first two games are the first game takes place on the Ishimura, which is a ship, and then the second one takes place at the Sprawl, and they're kind of like corridor, dark, scary. Where this third one is moving away from that kind of environment, and it's on a snowy, like Iceland planet, and it seems to be a little bit more action from what I saw, and the co-op element, which could go either way. It looks pretty cool. I'm not gonna hate on it or judge it, but also more wide open areas, and it wasn't dark all the time, which is it's got me a little worried. But I trust Visceral as a development company, so I hope that I'm not just worrying for no reason. But it could go either way. I'm still really looking forward to it.
I've seen some gameplay of it where someone was saying that the game actually changes it from single player and co-op. So there'll be
Yeah.
there's different scenes depending
Yep.
on if you're playing co-op or if you're playing single player. So that's pretty cool. At least it doesn't force the co-op on you, and it also like gives you something different if you do play co-op. So it makes you kind of want to play it that way. Even though I guess that's not really the way you'd want to play a horror game, but maybe it'll surprise you.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. And it does seem to take pretty cool advantage of having distinctly different campaigns and different experiences. So I'm pretty optimistic for it. Another game that I'm really looking forward to is, well, I was looking forward to Nino Kuni. That's out. We're going to talk about that in a second. Aliens, Colonial Marines.
See, I was interested in Colonial Marines when I heard about it, and then I heard it's a first-person shooter, and they kind of like lost me right about there. It's like, oh, I really know what game I really wanted? That Aliens game that was developed by Obsidian and made by Sega.
Yeah, yeah,
Th-
I
That
do.
that got canceled. That would have been
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, it would have, and that's a shame. That's a shame. And I'm with you on the to be honest with you, I am like all first person shootered out. I can't really, other than BioShock Infinite, which is another game that I'm really looking forward to. I'm just not I'm not into first person shooters anymore. I tried playing Far Cry 3 because everybody was ranting and raving about it, about how great it was, and I played it. And while there's some really cool gameplay elements going on in the actual game, I just don't I just don't think that I'm into the first person perspective anymore.
Yeah, I think I saw a lot of people gave that game like their game of the year on YouTube. Like people were going nuts over Far Cry 3, and I've never played Far Cry, and I'm not planning on playing Far Cry.
Yeah.
And the last first person shooter I played is actually Halo 4, and I didn't buy it actually. My friend, anytime Halo comes out, a friend of mine in the US buys it for me and sends it to me so that I'll play it with everybody else when they're online.
All right.
So I actually have like a ton of Halo games. I just, only play them with people online when, my friends are like demanding that I play with them. So it's the
Yeah.
kind of thing where like I almost never play first person shooters except for Halo. And it's not even the first person perspective that I dislike because I like first person dungeon crawlers and I liked Deus Ex. But if it's just a straight up shooter, I'm probably not interested.
Now, what did you think of Halo 4?
It's great actually. Like it plays well. I mean, it looks great. The I haven't played much of it but the multiplayer is cool. There's like some cool new modes that were fun, and it's the kind of thing where like out of the Halo games so far, it's probably the best one I've played. And I've only played the ones on the 360, and I haven't played ODST, but I'm sure that one's not the best in anybody's book. But I play three, and Reach and four, and four so far is probably the best one that I've played mechanically and the way it looks and everything. And the multiplayer had a lot of fun options, so I can't really complain about it. It's just it's not really my thing.
Yeah, and I don't think that you're alone with that view on the game. And to be honest, I was really, I'm not the biggest Halo fan in the world, but there was kind of a lot riding on that game. I mean, it was the first game not done by Bungie. It was a new studio. Um, there were a lot of concerns, but I think that that company, what is it, 343 Industries or whatever, I think they really came through and delivered, a real graphical masterpiece on the 360.
I guess they're
Considering.
they're made up of Bungie members, so it's
Okay.
not like it's like a completely new team. I'm sure it's people who worked on Halo before,
Hmm.
so it's not entirely new. So I think like I expected them to do a good job with it.
Yeah. It did deliver some great visuals. But back to the Colonial Marines, I went ahead and pre-ordered the limited edition with the statue. Looks really cool. I've always been a big fan of Alien, the movies, and like Prometheus. I mean, I like Prometheus a lot, so I'm really excited for the game. Um, I'm excited for Etrian Odyssey on the 3DS and the new Fire Emblem. I've got both of those pre-ordered,
I was gonna
and I
say
know that.
I just put up a video on my channel for just my like a short review of Etrian Odyssey 4, and the game in my 3DS right now is Fire Emblem.
You lucky you get everything early, man. No, did you obviously the review for Etrian Odyssey was positive.
Yes, yes, it's actually it's actually very similar to Etrian Odyssey 3, but with some improvements in pretty much all areas.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. It's definitely, not an RPG series for everyone, but for those that enjoy the first person, dungeon crawlers, you would say, right? That's what
Yeah,
they are.
it's a
Or
first-person dungeon crawler, and it's not one that's heavy on story. Unlike something like Strange Journey on the DS, that was like pretty story heavy, and like the choices you made actually mattered.
yeah,
In Etrian Odyssey, like you could just play the game by yourself without like even paying attention to what's happening in the story, and you probably have just as much fun with it.
that's cool, man. Because I haven't played. I've played a bit. Excuse me. I played a bit of the third one, and I really enjoyed it. And getting this fourth one is going to make me want to go back and get the earlier games. But someone that's the collector in me wants to have all of them, but practicality is going to set in, and I'm not going to have time to play the entire back series. So will I be able to jump into four and just enjoy it for what it is?
Yeah, if you played three and you kind of understand the basics of it, you can jump right into four and have no problem. You'll be able to like straight off make the kind of party you want and make and get set out into the dungeons pretty much right away.
Cool. And then have you had much time to put into the new Fire Emblem?
I finished Etrian Odyssey this morning, and I put in Fire Emblem for about, you know, 10 minutes. So I haven't actually played it.
Okay. I'm a big fan of the Fire Emblem games. I've played the two games on the GBA, and I've played the GameCube and Wii versions, and I've always been a big fan. The only one that I really didn't care for, and it was still a good game, but the one on the DS, I think it was Shadow Dragon, or was it something?
Was that one a remake?
Yeah, I believe it was a remake of the very first one. I believe. I think it was the first time it had come out in the States, but I really it was good, but it wasn't a finer point in the series, that's for sure.
So speaking of Fire Emblem and games possibly for 2013, have you heard of the Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem that's going to be out for the Wii U?
No, no, I haven't.
So, yeah, it was released, not released, but announced recently at the that Nintendo Direct conference or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
And it's SMT Cross Fire Emblem, so they only showed characters from the SMT games and a bunch of Fire Emblem games.
Oh, nice. And it's interesting that you bring that up because I don't own a Wii U personally, and I didn't see much reason to get one. And I guess that conference or whatever, they really unloaded some major titles. Isn't that's right, isn't it? They like dropped what there's going to be a Smash Brothers, um, like all kinds of games. A new Mario, did they say?
A new Yoshi's Island or something.
Yeah.
It's like that Kirby game that was made of
Oh
yarn.
yeah, yeah, the yarn. Yep. Okay. Yeah, they announced quite an amount of Wii U games that are coming. So I guess people that own that should be excited. And you know what's funny on the topic of Wii U, just real quick. You know when Super Nintendo launched or Nintendo 64 launched, or and they had like Super Mario World, like that Mario game kind of like defined the system early on and was hugely popular, and that's all people needed for a while was just that Mario game. And the Wii U launching with New Super Mario Brothers U, it seemed like that game kind of like just kind of not really fizzled, but it didn't have the impact that Mario games usually have with a Nintendo console launching. I think that's either a sign of Nintendo kind of milking this new Super Mario, or maybe the game just didn't bring much new, but it was kind of like here's a brand new Nintendo system that's launching with a brand new Mario, but yet people are already talking about the Wii U not having any games coming out. You know what I mean? That was kind of ironic, I think.
Yeah, it seems weird that well, I mean, I guess it's not incredibly weird, but the thing with the Super Nintendo and the Nintendo is that they came packaged with the Mario game, whereas the Wii U came packaged with what was it?
Oh, on Nintendo Land, was it?
Yeah, Nintendo Land.
Okay.
And Nintendo Land, even if it's really fun, it's not Mario. And if they had packaged Mario with the Wii U, I think it probably would have, been better overall for the system, even though it didn't really give the overall this is what the Wii U can do type of thing. It would have been better overall for the game.
Yeah. I was a little disappointed to see the visuals weren't, there's a lot of tricks and impressive things that 2D can pull off. I mean, look at the Rayman game that's coming out exclusively for the Wii U. That's a beautiful looking game, and to see Mario just kind of like a HD upgrade from the new Super Mario Brothers Wii, it's kind of disappointing. I mean, I know visuals aren't everything, and Mario's known for its gameplay, but I still would have liked to have seen a jump in visuals.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen a live version of the new Super Mario Brothers Wii U in action. I haven't actually seen it anywhere. There's not really any gaming kiosks set up anywhere in that I've been, so it's kind of I just only seen videos on YouTube, so I can't really judge how good it looks. But
Not very impressive. And I did play Zombie U, and I thought the game was, I thought it was garbage, to be honest with you. I didn't enjoy it at all.
so I didn't actually get to play Zombie U, but that's one of the games I was interested in for the Wii U. So you're saying it's not that good?
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it at all. I mean, visually, nothing exciting. And the gameplay, it just seemed to have, very minimal story. And yeah, it was cool that you could die and respawn as a new zombie, but without a strong story as to why you're trying to get through or why you're respawning, I didn't captivate me. I didn't enjoy it that much at all. And I probably put a good 4 or 5 hours in over at a buddy's house and trying to get into it, and I just didn't get it, you know. But not to dog the system. I think there's a lot of potential for the Wii U. I think it will be a good system once certain games start coming out for it.
It's the kind of thing where like for me, I almost every time a system is released, it's not really that exciting. And that's only because, I have like my rule about buying a new system is that I need at least 10 games I'm interested in.
Yeah,
And the Wii U currently, even after their big announcement, was like stands at 4. So it's kind of, you know, it's just not
yeah,
exciting to me right now. Once it starts to
yeah,
get up to like 8 or 9, I'm going to be like soon to buy a Wii U, so I'll be excited. But currently,
yeah,
I'm very low on the excitement level.
yeah. Um, Now, two of the games that I'm really looking forward to that are coming out in 2013 is The Last of Us from Naughty Dog, and then the Beyond Two Souls from the Heavy Rain guys. I think The Last of Us looks visually amazing. I'm glad they're not doing another Uncharted game. Um, I was getting a little draked out, after the Vita game.
A little dude rated out.
Yeah, so I'm really glad that I mean, the game looks just amazing in action, and I'm really excited to play their newest efforts because I think it does a lot of cool things in the gameplay department, and it just looks really cool. And I'm really excited for that one.
I never got into what's it called? Uncharted. I just can't get into it. It's something about it. I just can't. It just every time I play it, I just think this is kind of like a mediocre action platformer. I don't know why everyone likes it so much.
Oh man, yeah, I don't know, dude. I'm totally the opposite, man. When the game came out, it was uh, it was a much needed game for the PlayStation 3. There wasn't a whole lot going on back. I mean, if you take yourself back to when that game came out, I think I had enjoyed Resistance, Heavenly Sword, MotorStorm, um, and Ratchet and Clank. And just in terms of Sony exclusives. So when that came out, it was just like, thank you. I mean, it was visually impressive. The whole like exploration just grabbed me from the very beginning, and I thought it was just I fell in love with Drake and the story and the setting and his relationship with Sully and just going on this grand adventure. I love the whole treasure hunting theme that it's got going on. I just thought it was an amazing game, and the second one was a big improvement, and I really enjoyed the second one. And to be honest, I liked the third one probably the most. I thought it was another great, solid, memorable game with a lot of cool set pieces and a lot of action. And I just overall I think it's a fantastic series on the PS3, and I love the series. Needs a little bit of a break now, I mean, 3 games, and then I really enjoyed the Vita Uncharted as well, the Golden Abyss. I thought that was very well done, and it's just a certain style they have to their games. They really put a lot of effort into them, and I have enjoyed all of Naughty Dog's games, and the Crash Bandicoots as well. They just make good games, so I'm really excited for that. Um,
I think I haven't played enough of Naughty Dog stuff. The only thing I can think of is like what games do I like from Naughty Dog, and the first game that comes to mind is Rings of Power, and that's a Genesis game. So like, it's the kind of thing where I was never a big fan of Crash Bandicoot. I remember at the time playing it, and my girlfriend at the time was like way into it, and I was just like, yeah, you can play this. I'm gonna be over here.
I'm with you on that. I didn't get into Crash Bandicoot either. I didn't. Um, which is I they say that Jack and Dexter is kind of an extension off of Crash Bandicoot. Obviously, it's a different type of game, but um, I didn't get into Crash Bandicoot, man, either. I didn't something about it. I don't know, but when Jack and Dexter first came out, that first game was like really showed what the PS2 could do, man. I mean, there was like huge levels. You could see way into the distance. There was no load times, connecting these giant worlds, and it was just a really cool back to the roots collectathon, colorful platformer, and I really enjoyed it. And then remember the second one came out, took the series in a completely different direction. Kind of had the Grand Theft Auto influence where you could jack vehicles, and it was in the future, and it was a total departure. But I thought it was pretty cool. And the third one, once again, I don't know what it is with the third games in the series with Naughty Dog, but that was awesome in the desert with all those sand dune buggies and stuff, and really cool continuing storyline. Just a big fan of the Jack and Dexter games.
Man, I don't know. See, when the PlayStation 2 was around, I was playing mostly stuff like, I played a lot of Devil May Cry, and I played a lot of fighters, and I played like uh, Soul Reaver and stuff like that. So I was Maximo. I really liked at the time.
Yeah, all great games you're mentioning here, definitely. But a little bit more. You were into the more, more adult, story driven. Were you turned off because of the, like maybe like childlike kid kind of vibe that the games gave off?
Yeah, I think has a lot to do with it. I'm not really excited for those kinds of games. Like every time I see them, I just kind of think it doesn't look like I'm going to enjoy this.
Yeah. And I'm like that to an extent. I'm with you on that. But for some reason, when the PS2, the games like Jack and Dexter, Ratchet and Clank, and Sly Cooper, I just fell in love with all three series, to be honest with you, man. I don't know if it was like the inner child in me.
It's your inner Sega fan demanding more mascots.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It was especially Ratchet and Clank, man. That's such an awesome series. I think what it is it's an adult game like hidden with a kind of kid-like facade because the stories in the games and the humor is like very adult like oriented, man. There's a lot of cool like jokes and just the humor is really cool, on top of the crazy guns and just great gameplay and level design. Really great games for sure.
Yeah, I think like if it came out recently, I probably would have given it more of a chance. It's the kind of thing where like at the time I just wasn't thinking about like I was just thinking this looks like it's for kids and I'm not interested in that.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from, and I'll be honest, towards the end of the 16-bit era, we were so overloaded with furry creature themed platformers that a lot of people just had enough. They'd had enough.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I remember at that time, like after the 16-bit era at the end with all that stuff, like when the N64 came out, and it was more of that. It was just like I'm not playing this system. Even then, like even now, like probably N64 is my one of my least favorite gaming systems.
I'm with you on that totally. I couldn't connect with the system at all.
Yeah,
You
at the
know.
time I had a Saturn and a PlayStation, and I was good to go. And I eventually I got an N64 during that time because I really wanted to play Castlevania 64 and that and how that ended up. But
Oh
I
man,
literally got an N64 to play Castlevania 64, and I was disappointed with both.
yeah, those were painful games. No, no. Speaking of the Ratchet and Clank, Jack and Dexter Sly, I believe there's a new Sly Cooper game. I believe it's February 5th. Real shortly that a new Sly Cooper is coming out,
That's
and
next week.
yeah, really excited for that one. Really excited for that. That's a really I don't think that Sly Cooper ever got the recognition, or I don't know. It just seemed like Sly was kind of in the shadow of Jack and Dexter and Ratchet and Clank, and I don't think it's deserved. I think it's equally just as good of a series, and hopefully this new game will do well for Sucker Punch because I it's a great series. The only thing that I kind of have a hard time with when we're talking about the Sly Cooper series is Sly Cooper's sidekicks. You've got like a pink hippo and like the turtle. I believe it's like Murray and something else. That's kind of getting into a little bit dangerous territory for me with like a hippo and a turtle. Like I don't know, but I'm willing to overlook that because I do like the whole thief gameplay hook and mechanic. I think it's really cool. So that's another one coming out real soon.
So you're also talking about Beyond Two Souls.
Yeah. Now, were you a fan of Heavy Rain?
I have Heavy Rain, and I played Heavy Rain, and I honestly I don't understand what the hype was about. I kind of played it, and I thought it's all right, and I actually I played it with the Move, and it was a lot of fun with the Move. Like it was way more fun with the Move than it was with the controller. But
Okay.
even then, I thought it's good, but it's not super great. So I don't see myself being really excited for Beyond Two Souls because I didn't have a super good time with Heavy Rain, even though I enjoyed it.
Hmm. That's interesting to hear that the game performs well with the move because when I played and finished the game when it first came out, and at that point the move patch hadn't. I don't know if the move was out then, but I know it got patched in at a later date, and I always wanted to go back and try it out with the move, and I haven't yet to this day. But that's good to hear that it works well with the game because I that's something I do want to do before the new generation hits is go back and play that with the move.
Do it. It was a lot of fun with the Move. I tried playing it with the controller, and then it was clunky to me. Like it felt like entirely like QuickTime events, and it essentially it is. But
It is.
with the Move it feels better because you have to kind of actually do the motions to you open the door. You have to move the move in the way that you're opening a door, and the fight scenes are cool because you're actually swinging around the move and stuff. It's like you're fighting.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that out. I'm looking forward to experiencing that for sure.
That
Um,
was probably the most fun I've had with a Move game. Actually, was Heavy Rain.
yeah, the move, the move it doesn't get talked about in a good light. I haven't heard many people talk about it or let alone praise it. And I don't know, maybe I'm just like a sucker. I freaking love the move, man. I love rail shooters. I'll get that out of the way. I love House of the Dead and Time Crisis. So for me, with House of the Dead Overkill, Time Crisis Raging Storm, and House of the Dead 3 and 4 on the PSN, and I'm having a great time with the move controllers and the rail shooters and even games like Killzone 3 was pretty enjoyable with the move, and I enjoyed Sorcery. So I think
You
it's a great
you have
great
way more
metaphor.
Move stuff than I do. Uh, I have a few games for the Move. I mean, I have House of the Dead and stuff, but I just there's not enough stuff that uses it. And when was the last time they released a game for the Move?
Well, they just recently came out with the Wonder Book. I don't know if you are
Uh,
familiar with that.
Wonder Book.
Um, you know, I it's funny. I just picked that up a couple of days ago because I walked into Best Buy and it was on sale for I think 14.99, and I had a $5 off thing. So I said, what the hell? I guess my wife is a Harry Potter fan, so I figure if anything, there's new stories in there supposedly, and it's basically like an interactive spell book with some augmented reality. Um, I'm definitely glad I didn't pay. Well, I think it was like 30 or $40 when it first came out. But I mean, it's kind of interesting. It's worth $10. It uses Move pretty cool, but no, I don't think they're Sony. I don't know what they're doing, man. Especially when it comes to like the Vita, and they launched the Move, and it's been kind of lukewarm supported by Sony themselves. I
Yeah,
don't
that's the
know.
thing. It's Move came out and then it just went away. Sony never mentioned it again. And
Yeah,
then the Vita seems like it's getting that kind of treatment now because it came out and they were pushing it and then all of a sudden Sony just bowed out there. It was just whatever. We're still here selling them. If you want them, we're here. That's it.
yeah. It really just to even hear just to talk about it just like enrages me, man. It's such an awesome little handheld. Like by far and away, I think it's the best, handheld design wise. The two thumbsticks, the beautiful screen. It's just the perfect handheld that just doesn't have the support, and the Call of Duty game was like a disaster, and that's what's going to happen if Sony lets these companies hand a big game to the B team. You know,
Then
you
not
hand
even
it
the
to
B team for Call of Duty. It was
yeah,
nihilistic software. They bowed out of making console games in order to go to mobile development after like their ridiculously poorly rated games for the past like all of their releases. I can't think of a good game they made.
yeah. That company pisses me off. They made Conan, which was like a really good hack and slash game for the 360 and PS3. That was an excellent game. After that, they managed to single-handedly ruin what could have been the PlayStation Move's killer app, which was the PlayStation Move Heroes. I mean, come on, you've got a game that combines Jack and Dexter, Ratchet and Clank, and Sly Cooper into one game. You know that's like taking Nintendo like Mario, Samus, and Kirby like for Sony. You know what I mean? And they gave it to Nihilistic, and they put out a shitty, mediocre game. You know, I mean, that could have sold Move. You know, I don't understand why they were given that. They managed to run Resistance into the ground with Resistance Burning Skies in the Vita. You know, a lot of people were looking forward to that. You know, there's a lot of Resistance fans out there. It wasn't as bad as Call of Duty, but it was still, you know, kind of mediocre for what people
Yeah.
expected.
Well, thinking of games that are coming out in 2012 for the Vita, there's actually a bunch of stuff coming out. Uh, Demon Gaze came out a week ago, and that's like a first-person dungeon crawler. I don't know if it'll get a localization or not, but it's
Mhm.
pretty awesome. And Dragon's Crown, is that a Vita game?
Yeah, I believe it's a PS3 and Vita.
Oh, okay.
So, does that have a firm release date? Because that hasn't been
I
like
don't think
pushed or hyped at
so.
all.
I don't think it switched developers, but Atlas took over it, so it's definitely going to come out.
Okay.
But I don't know
Yeah,
when.
I think I remember seeing like an April date for that. I could be wrong, but I believe it was like April 30th or something.
There's a bunch of good stuff coming out for the Vita actually. That Oroboshi Muramasa whatever the Muramasa the Demon Blade remake.
I'm excited for that. I'm excited for Soul Sacrifice.
Oh yeah, Soul Sacrifice comes out in 2 months in the U.S., but in about a month here. And I played the demo for like more than 30 hours, and
Hmm.
that's the demo. I played the demo that long. It's such a good game. It's so fun.
You have no idea how happy I am to hear that.
That
If
game,
it,
if people play it, it'll be a system seller because it's good. It's really good. And it's the kind of thing like you start playing it and you think, "Oh, this is fun. It plays it's really smoothly and the mechanics of it are good." And then like you kind of start playing it and you figure out like, "Oh, if you kill bosses a certain way, you'll get different magic. If you get, you know, different types of spells and you kill bosses in certain types of spells, they drop other types of spells. So there's like all these different ways to replay the same bosses over and over again and get different drops. So
so looking forward to that, man.
and the multiplayer is online, so like it works really smoothly. Like even you'll get online and you'll find people like you'll have four people with you and everyone will have one bar and it'll still play smooth and there's no lag. It's really great.
Now, does that game have people hyped up in Japan for the Vita? I
I
mean, are people
you
are
know
people paying attention to it?
I don't know really, but the multiplayer for it is always full. There's always people online playing it, and that's like months after the demo was released.
Okay.
So there's definitely people who are going to be hyped for it because I played Monster Hunter and stuff, but I couldn't really get into it. But
Yeah.
this game, it's the same kind of boss hunting game like Monster Hunter is, but it's got that thing that kind of it factor that really catches me, and I really love it. So I'm really excited for Soul Sacrifice when that comes out.
Cool. Definitely. 2013 also brings us a brand new God of War game, God of War Ascension. I do have the limited edition pre-order for that, which we finally get a freaking Kratos statue. I mean, it's taken them what 5 years. I mean, we got like a Pandora box, which was cool and all, but I really wanted a Kratos statue, so thank God we're finally getting one. Bringing multiplayer to the series. Are you a fan of God of War or?
I'm not a huge fan. I don't dislike God of War. I just it's not something I'm really looking forward to. It's the kind of thing like I'll pick it up when it's really cheap.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited for that one. I've always been into the God of War
I
games.
figure you'd be excited considering you were Games of War.
Yeah, I am fucking Games of War. Yeah, I'm excited for that one. Just great games, man. I'm excited to hopefully hear something for the Vita. We need a God of War game on the Vita, man, for sure. The PSP got a couple of great games from Ready at Dawn. So hopefully they'll got something for the Vita planned with God of War, and I'm really looking forward to the PS3 release. I played the beta, the multiplayer, and it was really cool, man. The way they handled the combat was really cool, and I'm looking forward to it. Definitely.
Yeah, there's a lot of good RPGs coming out too. There's that South Park RPG I'm still really excited for, even though who knows when it's going to come out now.
Hmm.
Um, what else? Disgaea Dimensions.
Oh, another Disgaea game.
Yeah, it's like a direct sequel to the first Disgaea.
Oh wow, does it have Laharl in it and
Yes,
everything?
yes, yes.
That's the game I think that Disgaea fans have wanted since the first one. I don't think any game since then captured a character that was quite like him. He was really cool, man.
Yeah,
Laharl was really cool.
I really liked Laharl, and he's been in the other Disgaea games. He still shows up, but like usually as just like a minor side character.
Yeah, yeah. I did enjoy that Makai Kingdom as well. That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that's actually called Phantom Kingdom in Japan.
Oh, okay. I remember playing that one where you're like the book. That was cool. Um,
There's
now, on,
also oh wait, there's also what's it called? The Witch and the Hundred Knights, which is I believe it's made by Nippon Ichi, and there's the God and Fate Revolution Paradox, which is the worst name ever. It's just so long. But that's a roguelike, kind of a roguelike. Did you ever play what's it called? Unlosing Ranger versus Dark Death Evil Man or whatever. I think that's the name on the PSP.
oh, I didn't. Was that like that? Was it like like a Z something ZH? I remember seeing that, man, but no, I never did play that. That's like one of the few PSP RPGs I haven't played.
That one is that's it's a roguelike, so you have resetting levels and stuff, but it's this game is very similar to that.
Okay, that's cool. Definitely cool. Did you play Ragnarok Tactics on the PlayStation Portable or the Growlancer Generations? Did you have a chance to try those out?
I didn't play either of those. Ragnarok came out a long time ago here. It's really cheap now, and I keep seeing it, and I think I'm gonna pick it up, but then I always pick up something else, so I haven't gotten around to that. And the Growlancer actually played on the PS2,
Okay.
so I probably won't get it on the PSP.
Yeah, I gotta remember that Japan gets this stuff way before, so it's old hat for you.
Yeah, there's
Um,
a speaking of that, there's a kind of Kamen Rider Dynasty Warriors type game coming out.
oh, really?
Yeah, it's I'm not even like a huge Kamen Rider fan. It's just I really like the Kamen Rider games for some reason. I kind of like recently have been getting into them, and there's
Mhm.
so many Kamen Riders. There's like 50. You play the game and like there's all these different Kamen Riders from like the past 40 or 50 years of Kamen Rider, and it's pretty interesting. I don't know why it's so interesting though, because I'm not even like a I don't like the show or anything, but the games are fun to me.
Yeah, I think I've got a Kamen Rider on the Sega CD. It's like a full motion video game,
Of
and
course.
it's pretty cool, man. It does a lot of things different than a lot of the full motion video games at the time, like such as branching paths and like different time button presses. It just changes it up a little bit. And it's pretty interesting with some awful acting thrown in there.
And wait, we can't forget about probably the biggest RPG that's been announced so far for, I guess, 2013, Dark Souls 2.
Yeah, yeah, and there's a bit of controversy surrounding that game. Um, I can't pronounce the guy's name, but the director is not. He's overseen. Am I correct? He's overseen the production, but
Yeah,
he's
they switched to like a new main producer for the game, but I guess it's not going to be incredibly different. There's been kind of like speculation where people are raging because of that one interview, but
yeah.
um, I have a feeling that it's not going to be so different. I just think it's going to be uh, there's going to be a heavier story in the sense that like there'll be a story that you don't have to like search for.
Yeah.
And I mean that's not a bad thing as long as they keep all the kind of esoteric stuff in the background.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for. I think it's a good thing. I mean, he's still going to be supervised, and he's not going to let anything, crazy. But it's giving the series some fresh blood, and hopefully that turns out good.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I'll be playing hundreds of hours of Dark Souls 2.
Definitely. Now, on the topic of RPGs, Nino Kuni is caused quite a stir over here. I know there was a DS game in Japan, and the game came out like a while ago for you.
in
Um,
in 2011.
yeah, so. Over here, there's a huge debacle with the pre-orders. I got screwed out of my Wizards edition, which I'm still pretty pissed about.
I saw
I
a
guess
lot
the
of
count.
people did. Johnny Millennium also got his actually, but he made a video about how they canceled and then he had a reorder and he actually got his. But a lot of people were raging about that on the Pete's Game Room forum.
Yeah, it's bullshit. I pre-ordered that way back in the summer, and all of a sudden, when the game releases, there was an error, and I don't get my copy. Like, really? And the prices on eBay are $500, $400. It's just insane. The game is sold out everywhere. I guess Namco Bandai says they didn't, they couldn't have predicted this success of this game over here, and they're taken aback by it, and that's great and all, but I want my Wizards edition. Damn it, you know, pisses me off.
Yeah, it's weird because it kind of underperformed in Japan when it came out. Like it never really got the sales they were expecting. It didn't sell through on the first week like a huge percentage they were expecting, like a huge amount to sell, and it didn't sell that much. So it's good that the game at least got a chance to come out in the West and is apparently selling well and
Yeah,
making people rage.
yeah, definitely. It's done that. It's sold out everywhere, and I'm raged for sure. It's just it pisses me off, man. I mean, I really wanted that. I wanted the contents, man. I wanted the plush. I wanted the damn book. I wanted the coin. I wanted it all, and I put the money down. I had to have been, among the first pre-orders. It was right when they first announced it, man. I was on that website pre-ordering it right away because I knew that, if it's directly on the site, it wasn't going to be in a huge production of it. So I wanted it, and just to be blindsided like that at the last second, it was just really frustrating. But what can I do? There's nothing I can do. Just hopefully snipe a copy out when the hype dies down. Maybe find a copy. Hopefully, be able to get one.
Of the Wizards edition or just the regular game?
I just want the Wizards edition. I've got the game, and I talked to Point Blank Games, and we were able to work out a deal for a steel case. So I got my hands on the exclusive. That's another thing. Um, the steel case pre-orders were shorted at GameStop as well. I've called a few stores, and they had 24 pre-orders at one store and 22 at another store, and they got a total of three steel cases for each store. So people were getting shorted on those too. So it's a big debacle on all fronts. But big shout out to Point Blank for the steel case. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Point Blank Games. Come back to YouTube.
I wouldn't have had that without him. So you know. Now, what do you think of the next gen consoles possibly coming out this year? And that's the talk of the town. Is that this holiday season there's going to be new consoles on the market?
Yeah, it's not gonna really affect me because unless they have this launch lineup where there's 10 games that I want in the launch lineup, I don't
Okay,
care.
okay. There's nothing that's going to make a new system. Whether it's Sony, there's going to be 10 games eventually. Is there any one game that could possibly sway you to say, you know what, there's not 10 games right now. I know there's going to be. I want this game now. I've got to have this system.
Wow. They would have to release something like it would have to be like Persona 5 or something. I can't think of anything that would it would have to be something like it would have to be something huge. It would have to be Fallout 4 or something, you know what I mean?
Huh. Yeah, for me, I don't know, man. For me, it's just when it's a new system, I just got to have it. Whether there's unless it's the Wii U. Other than that, if a new Sony console or Microsoft, I got to have it. Although I probably would be the most excited for a new PlayStation console. I've been much more happy. Initially it was the 360 when all the games were exclusive, like Tales of Vesperia, Dead Rising, Lost Planet, Cameo, like all these exclusive 99 Nights. But then it seems as the console generation went on, Microsoft stopped caring about games like Lost. I'm sure because they didn't sell, but they weren't getting any more games like Lost Odyssey or Blue Dragon or these exclusive games, and Sony really stepped it up with the Uncharted, the Ratchets, the Journeys, the Flowers, all these great exclusives, and it's just taken my top spot. To be honest with you, the PlayStation has this generation for sure.
Yeah, I like both systems, and I think like they both have their their kind of strong points. So I don't really have a preference. I just kind of play what I can play. I just have both of them because I know there's games that aren't going to come out on both.
Yeah, 'tis true. Now I got to ask you a question. PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale,
That I don't think that's even out here yet.
is it not?
I don't think it is. It might be, but I haven't seen it anywhere.
Are you interested in that game at all, or
Not in the least.
no? You know me, man. I love all those Sony characters, and I did pick it up, and I hear a lot of people like, obviously it's a Smash Brothers clone. I mean, there's no way around that. But it's a different game, man. It's totally different mechanic, and I've really been enjoying it, man. And I was just wondering if it had come out there and to see how it was doing.
Yeah, the thing is like I don't really like Smash Brothers. So
Yeah.
and yeah, I kind of want to play it just because I want to smash people up using Parappa.
Kick punch.
Yeah, I want to chop, kick, and punch some people to death, but it's kind of I want to turn and pose at the end is what I want to do.
Yeah, it's a fun game, man. And when you buy the PlayStation 3, you get a free copy on the Vita, which is cool, and there's crossplay. And I'm not sure how I feel about the whole crossplay thing yet. I don't know if it's something. I mean, obviously it's a great deal. It's a great value. Getting a free digital copy on either system, whether you buy the Vita version or the PS3 version. But I'm enjoying the game, and I hope it does well for Sony. I don't think it has because I think the layout they've already like that. I think it was the Superbot or something that developed it. I think they've already been hit with layoffs, so I guess that doesn't say too many promising things about the studio or the success. But I enjoyed it. I'm glad to see it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just wrote it off right away, which is, it's kind of sad because I heard a lot of people online like saying, "Oh, yeah, it seems like a Smash Brothers clone, but it plays differently and it's got a lot of fun stuff to it." But then, I don't think a lot of people really cared. They were just kind
No.
of dead set on hating it.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're a fan of PlayStation characters, there's lots of cool references and there's lots of cool, nods to the history of the series and the characters that are in it. So I mean, it's for a PlayStation fan, it's great.
It's the kind of thing where like it's the PS3 is not the strongest system in the US. Like the Xbox 360 trounced it in the US. So
Yeah,
it actually makes sense that it didn't sell that well, only because the 360 is like the main system for the US.
yeah, it's funny that I mean, Sony came into this generation riding on top a huge. I mean, PS2 is still the best selling system of all time, and it's funny to watch a company go from such a high to. I mean, those initial days and months and maybe even a year after the PS3 first launched, those were really dark times for Sony and for Sony fans, and I don't think they've still quite recovered yet. I mean, Their TV business is in the shitter. They're not selling TVs. I think they invested really heavily in 3D, and I don't think that 3D really means a damn thing anymore, really. So I mean, the Vita's not selling. Um, so I don't know. I think that if we have another repeat of the PlayStation 3, I mean, it's sold well now, and I even read an article where like PlayStation 3 has outsold the 360 worldwide. In
I
terms of,
think they're like really close. I'm not sure if it's more, but they're really close at this point. But it's the kind of thing where it's big in Europe and Japan, obviously, but in the US it just got destroyed.
yeah.
I think like the Xbox outsold it almost 2-1 in the US.
Now, do you think Sony can withstand say the PlayStation Orbis or the PS4, whatever it's called, comes out and it's a repeat? Do you think they can financially stay in another console generation after this next one if there's a similar performance, or do you think they will go the way of Sega?
Similar to the PS3, or similar in the sense that like they lose half their market share again?
Yeah, yeah, similar to they just lose like you said market share.
Probably not. I mean, if it's the same as the PS3, like they sell whatever 75 million consoles or whatever, that's probably fine. But
Yeah,
if the Xbox 360 I mean the Xbox new next box or whatever it is
yeah.
sells 100 million, and the PlayStation 3 the PlayStation 4 only sells 40 million or something, it's not going to be so hot for Sony, but I doubt that will happen.
Yeah. What I think it is, man, I just think that Xbox Live is just so vastly superior to PSN. I mean, even now, like, it's just too late because if you look at PlayStation Plus, there's so much value to that. Like the free games you get, and the service is really improved, but time is already it's already set precedent where the general knowledge in public prefers Xbox Live, and that's a major component. With the way shooters are dominating, it's just I think Xbox is going to have great momentum going into the next generation. I really do.
Yeah,
I
it's the
think.
kind of thing where the Xbox, it's not like incredibly popular outside of, I guess, the UK and the US. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it's sold less than the PS3 pretty much everywhere else, but the thing is like a lot of developers, when they think selling Western games, they're thinking of selling stuff to the US, which is why there's
Hmm.
like so many shooters. And the Xbox like dominated the US. And also shooters and the Xbox work well together because of the cross chat,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that like people like will get on with their friends in a party and they'll join a shooter and they'll just chat between each other and play the shooter, which you can't really do that on the PS3.
No. And the PS3 also, I love the system, but there's always like syncing for trophies. I can't just like say, oh, I want to compare trophies with my buddy without sitting through a freaking sync screen that takes 15 minutes to sync up. The installs and patches take forever. It's just kind of a clunky experience when you compare Xbox Live how fast it is, and it's just that's a real negative thing too. That they've got to fix that going into the next generation. It's got to be more speedy and more convenient, and I just want to see them make these changes. So when this, because I mean, if we are to believe that the consoles are coming before the end of the year, it's coming soon, man, and I'm ready for some new damn systems. It's been a long generation, man.
Yeah, I don't really mind that. I just think I hope that I actually hope that Sony does well. I mean, I want the Vita to succeed because it's a good system, and I want the new PlayStation to succeed because most Japanese developers develop for Sony.
Yep.
It's the kind of thing where, I want it to succeed because I don't want things to be very Xbox centric. Even though I
Yeah.
like the Xbox, I'm not saying like Sony and dislike the Xbox, because the Xbox is great. It's my main system. If there's a game on both the PS3 and the Xbox, I usually buy it on the Xbox.
Yep. I'm the same with you.
It's just, the PS3 has a lot of good stuff, and there's a lot of stuff that, just doesn't exist on the 360 that does exist on the PS3, including some of the best games I've played. Like uh, just recently, Yakuza 5 was amazing. One of the best games I've played this whole generation, and it's PS3 exclusive.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be sad to potentially, not have Sony in the game with a console. If I've read some articles, man, to where like the TV business is really affecting them, like not selling TVs, and I don't think their phones are doing well. Apple's really cleaning it up in the tablet, market, and I don't know, man. I've read a few reports that aren't looking positive, but then again, you can't argue. I mean, 75 million systems sold, it can't be bad. I mean, they've been making a profit for a while now, and I just hope things continue to look up for them. It'd be sad to see them go. But um, enough of the negative talk, man. What games have you been playing recently, man?
Let's see. This month has been like crazy. I think I beat like 6 games or something this month. I had so much time off in the beginning of the month because there's a like a week-long holiday for New Year's in Japan.
Hmm.
So I just was like sitting around at home. Everybody usually goes home to visit their parents or whatever during that time. It's like a Japanese tradition. But
Hmm.
I was just sitting at home playing games. So I played a ton of like XCOM. And have you played XCOM?
XCOM, Enemy Unknown.
Yes.
That's a game that I really, really want to pick up, man. It seems like it's right up my alley, and I have not done so yet.
That one you should get. It's really really good. I thought it was going to be different than it was. Like I wasn't like really sure about it. And like when they first announced the new XCOM game, they announced that first person shooter one and I thought
Yeah,
I really
yeah,
like
that's
XCOM. And I mean, I used to play XCOM on DOS, if that in like the mid 90s. And the thing is I was a huge XCOM fan back then. I always played XCOM. And then they when they announced the reboot for it as a first person shooter, I was like, oh, what a waste. Such a good series. And then like this game came out and I wasn't paying attention because I thought like the game that came out was the first person shooter. And
that's exactly what I did. I thought it was a first-person shooter, so I didn't pay attention to it.
yeah, and then everyone started talking about it like, no, it's a strategy game. And I was like, wait, that's just like regular XCOM. I totally got to buy that. So I went out and bought it and I definitely was not disappointed. It's really, really good.
I'm definitely gonna pick that up. A quick question for you, man. Um, I have a game on the Game Boy Advance called Rebel Star Tactical Command.
I
Are
have
you familiar?
never heard of that.
I think that is. I really enjoyed the game, and the more I looked, after I played it and enjoyed it, I was reading up on some of the backstory, and I think that was either done by the guys that did XCOM, and it was kind of like a remake disguised as another game. It's a tactical RPG where it's like aliens invading,
Yeah,
and
that's like
it's
XCOM.
yeah, it's done with sprites, and it's really really well done. So yeah, man, if you play the Game Boy Advance or you enjoy that, definitely look into that, man, because I heard it's very similar to XCOM and it got really good reviews.
I should look into that actually. It sounds good.
Definitely.
So let's see, what else have I been playing? I don't know. I have to think about it. I played a lot of Etrian Odyssey 4, and of course DMC was another one that I played. You played DMC, right?
Yes, I did. I finished it last week.
And what did you think about it?
Um, I really enjoyed the game. I'm not one of those people that hated it ever since I first saw the look of Dante. You know, whatever, man. Change is okay. I'm not like pissed off about it. I'm not mad. And Ninja Theory is a favorite developer of mine. I love in Heavenly Sword and Slave. They were both great games, and the more gameplay I watched and previews, I got more and more excited for the game. I think it's the first Devil May Cry game that I played from beginning to end that I actually understood the story the entire way through, and that gave more meaning to the battles because I knew what the hell I was like, oh shit, I'm going to fight this, or I'm going to do that. It was told very interesting. It was a modern take on it to where it used like real life like corporations and goings on in the real world, and it was just told really well. I thought it was great, man. The combat system was awesome. I guess if there's only one negative thing I have to say, and it's not really negative, it's just that they threw like so many like changeable on the fly weapons at you that it was just insane to try to get a handle on the combat system, which I did as the game got like closer to the end of the game. I was able to really bust out some sweet combos and switch the weapons well. But man, it was pretty intimidating. But overall, it was pretty close to my top Devil May Cry game that I've played, just because of the simple fact that I really enjoyed the story and it made me want to fight these battles. It was awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed a lot of the characters. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the fighting, and I liked the switching weapons. Actually, I thought like it made it a lot of fun to do battles and try to like make longer combos. Whereas in like the previous Devil May Cries, I was just like mostly just trying to get through the game,
Yeah,
and I wasn't thinking about making combos so much, and which is like kind of because I wasn't really into trying to go for S rank on everything. I just kind of wanted to play the game. But actually, what DMC did is actually makes me want to go and play through it and get S ranks on everything because I think the combo system is a little bit more fun, even though it's simpler and it doesn't require me to like study to make combos like the previous DMCs. It's just kind
yeah.
of it's a lot more it's a lot simpler, but it's also helps you want to play the game more and make it more in depth if you're willing to put in a little bit of time, which is good for me. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, the glaives were awesome.
Oh yeah, I liked that too.
You could pull off some truly amazing combos, man. As like I said, as the game went on and I got more familiar with the angelic and demonic properties, and the combat system was really good. Now, the one thing I guess that the entire game like was always like limbo and like some crazy environment. I almost wanted to just have a level or two that was just like a kind of level where it wasn't always like twisting and shit falling apart and breaking apart. I almost wanted just to have like a nice, beautiful gothic like open area to walk around in and like kind of enjoy where it wasn't always like twisting and breaking apart. I guess it's kind of the direction they were going for in the whole theme of the game. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I'm trying to have a hard time explaining it too. I just wanted more of a maybe a level or two where I could just enjoy some beautiful environments. Not that the game doesn't look good; it looks great, but it was always so much craziness going on with the twisting and the environment's changing. Do you feel like do you get what I'm trying to say, or?
Yeah, I understand. Like it just one or two levels that were more normal, more regular Devil May Cry levels, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It actually, if they had done that, it would have like switched up the pace a little bit.
It's true. It's true. I will say that I thought that the story was told like very well, like Dante and Virgil. It was told so well, man. You really got a feeling for who they both were. Excuse me. And it was told so well. Those guys, Ninja Theory, if one thing, they know how to make characters like show emotion with very minimal dialogue, man. It was just the story was told very well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know it's
Definitely.
weird because like I saw a lot of people in their reviews saying like the story was like one of the worst parts of the game, and I
Oh
thought like,
no.
and I
Man.
thought no, the story was really good for me. I really liked how the characters were different. I mean, I liked how um the interactions between Dante and Virgil and how Virgil always came across as like kind of a sociopath in
Yeah.
almost all cases. So like
Yep.
his people were saying like, oh, his like turn at the end was really out of nowhere, and it's like it wasn't really because like throughout the entire game he's like this kind of smooth sociopath. Like you like him, but he's like doesn't like you or anybody else. You kind of can just
Yeah.
tell. You can just tell by how he interacts with people.
Yeah. You could tell that, at the end of the day, his agenda was what he was after. You know what I'm saying? No matter what the cost, he had a certain idea in mind that he was striving for, and he didn't nothing held back. Once it was awesome. Definitely a great game. Yeah,
Yes.
I can't see why anybody would try to fault the story. It was great, and it sets it up nicely. No spoilers, but it sets it up nicely for a sequel too. If they want to continue.
Yeah, I hope they do. I hope they make a sequel, and I hope it's done by Ninja Theory, and I hope Dante has short hair.
Yep. Yep. And the funny thing is, dude, is that people were bitching like, "Oh, he's emo, all this and that." When you play the game, he's like the farthest thing from emo, dude. He's
Yeah.
not. It's not even like that, man. So if anybody out there is like questioning, it's not even like that at all, man. Dante's like a really likable character in this for sure.
Yeah, I liked Dante in this. I have almost no complaints about DMC. I thought it was a really good game.
Definitely a great game.
What else? I played through Saints Row 3.
Oh yeah, what'd you think of that?
Oh, it's fun. It's fun in the same way all the Saints Row games are fun. It's just
Yep.
goofy fun, I guess.
Yep.
That's the only way you can explain it. Goofy.
Yeah, I really enjoy the Saints Row series for sure. Third one was great.
So I don't know. I'm sure I played other stuff too, but I can't think of it. So what about you? What have you been plugging away
Uh,
at?
like you, finished Devil May Cry. I've been playing, like I mentioned earlier, quite a bit of PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale. I've been playing some Anarchy Reigns,
How is that?
which, man, I'm trying to get more into it, and I'm a big fan of Platinum Games, and I really enjoyed Mad World, and I was really looking forward to this. But I gotta be honest, man, it's cool. I enjoy the game, but I just don't think it's up there with Platinum Games' best efforts. Obviously, it's like meant to be an online multiplayer, but there's a pretty strong single player component as well. And I don't know, something about the game, man. I mean, it's a $30 release. It's well worth $30, in my opinion. But there's something about it. I just don't know if I'm really sold on the whole. Man, the combo system. It just needs more moves, and it's not quite as smooth and fluid, especially coming off of playing something like Devil May Cry. But which I know that Anarchy Reigns isn't like that kind of game. It's an online brawler, but definitely not one of Platinum Games' stronger efforts. It's a good game, but I definitely need some more time with it. Um, but it's something that you don't see a lot. I mean, you don't see many online brawlers like that. It's a good change of pace from either a racing game or a shooter or whatever. You don't get a lot of games like that, so I appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah, I don't think anybody is making games like that anymore. It's the kind of thing where, like, after Power Stone, there was probably none of those.
Yeah, yeah, definitely not. And the visuals are a little rough, but it's cool to see Jack, from Mad World back, and it's pretty brutal. The single player is really difficult, man. It's like frustratingly hard. Everything's timed. And there's lots of unlockables and stuff. I mean, if you're a fan of like Power Stone or brawlers, I'd say definitely. It kind of reminds me of the PS2 game Urban Reign, which was a pretty cool brawler. No online in that one, but I'd definitely say it's worth a look. Um, I've been playing a lot of Wipeout 2048 on the Vita, which I don't know. When I first got that game when the Vita launched, I didn't play it a whole lot, man. And just recently, I sat down with it, and I had been using the left trigger for the air brake, man, and that's like not the air brake; it's just the standard brake. And I kept wondering why I was like doing so shitty at playing this game, man. And I sat down with it the other day, and I realized that the square is like the air brake, so you can like kind of shift your craft around the corners and like kind of power slide almost. And once I like understood the mechanic of how the ship was controlling, and I'm really enjoying that game, man. I mean, it's like beautiful, like visually beautiful game on the Vita. The track design is awesome, and the gameplay is super tight, man. It's just a really really good racer on the Vita. Really enjoying that. Have you played that game, or do you own it, or?
I don't have that. I'm not like a racing game fan. I almost never play racers, and the last one I played is probably Forza 2.
Oh
So
wow.
I haven't
That's been
really. Yeah, it's been a long time.
okay. Yeah, it's a really cool game. I enjoy my hover like futuristic F-Zero type games. So Wipeout's really good. I played a lot of Need for Speed Most Wanted. Playing a lot of that recently. I actually have the Vita version, which is really, they didn't hand that off to the B team, so you don't have to worry about like a Call of Duty like experience in the Vita. Done in-house by Criterion Games. Really fast racer on the Vita. Great stuff. And Nino Kuni is going to be taking up most of my time. Like I said, I went back and finished Dead Space 1 and 2 just to get ready for the third one. But Nino Kuni is the game that I'm going to be playing probably for the next, couple weeks. Really want to run through that. So far, I'm about I think 8 hours in, and it's just a magical little game. Like we talked previously, and you said that it wasn't really kind of your kind of game because like the little kid vibe, and I get where you're coming from on that. I do because I'm usually not a big fan of playing as little kids in RPGs either. But I can make an exception for this one because it's just it's something about it's just like kind of I know it sounds kind of corny, but it's like a magical kind of game, man. It's just really breathtaking visuals, great soundtrack. So I'm really enjoying that one, and that's what I'm going to be playing for quite some time in the foreseeable future. Might
Yeah,
even have to
I
I might
think
have to
that
hold
game
off.
really, really, it looks great, and I'm sure the story is great. And I'm just not a huge Ghibli fan, and I'm not a huge fan of RPGs with kids. It's just
Yeah,
I just can't get into it
yeah,
because I really identify with the characters as much as I
yeah.
can with older people. And
Totally understand. Totally get it. I remember I finished, or I didn't finish it yet, but I'm really close to the end of Tales of Grace's F, and that's another RPG where you start off playing as kids, man. And I was like, oh no, but when you become, it's 5 years, like the story advances about the 5, 6 hour mark, and you become like it's like 5 years into the future, so you're like 17, 18, and all that stuff you did as a kid really was needed because of you form these friendships and bonds as a kid, and some of these events really have a meaningful impact when you're a teenager and some of this crazy stuff starts happening because you remember back to your childhood, and it's just really well done, man. I don't know if people talked as highly of Grace's F as Vesperia, but I think it's right up there with Vesperia as one of the best RPGs that I played last year. That's a really, really good game for Tales fans or RPG fans. I really enjoyed Tales of Grace's F.
yeah, I've never played Tales of Grace's F. I actually have Tales of Graces on the Wii,
Hmm.
and I started playing it, and I'm still on the part where they're kids. I just haven't gotten past that.
Okay. Yeah, it really starts getting good after the kid stuff is done. Kind of like a war, like the land is at war. But the way it's told and the betrayals and stuff is really cool, man. Really enjoyed that one. And then I forgot to mention this in the I don't know see how I could miss this one, but games we're looking forward to in 2013, Tales of Exilia. Now, have you had a chance to play that one?
I haven't. It's that's also a game that's been out here for like 2 years, I think.
Oh man,
It's the kind of thing where like part two is already out.
see, dude, and there was like a Tales game on the Vita as well, wasn't there? That never.
Yeah, Tales of Innocence are.
Oh man, see, like this is where I'm like so jealous that I can't speak Japanese, dude, because there's so many games that I'm missing, man.
There's
Like I
also
really,
Tales of Hearts are coming out next month
oh
for the
God,
Vita. It's like it's a remake of a DS version, but it's all done in 3D, so it's more like the other Tales games that have come out recently.
yeah, dude, this is gonna start making me sick to my stomach the more we talk about this. I hope that with the success of Nino Kuni, maybe Namco Bandai is I don't know because I know what they're gonna think. Like Nino Kuni isn't Tales, so I don't know if it will have any direct effect on things they decide to bring over. But I really hope that maybe that opens their eyes a little bit to the fact that there's a lot of hungry JRPG fans here, man, that want Tales games. So I hope that Nino Kuni maybe teaches them a little lesson. First of all, not to go with the goddamn company they went with that handled the pre-order. That's first and foremost. What is it, Digital River? I think it was the company or whatever
Yes,
that handled.
Digital
You
River.
know, those those people should be out of business. First and foremost. I even heard that there was a rumor that employees of Digital River or whatever saw what these were going for on eBay and actually took people's pre-orders and kept them as their own and started selling them on eBay. I know that's kind of like gossip, and I can't prove it, and I have no credible source to back that up. But that would be really shitty if that were true, man.
Yeah,
You know,
it's probably true.
you know,
I wouldn't be surprised if it were true.
like, oh, give this guy his $100 back and let's go sell it for 450 on eBay. Shit, I mean, you do that with 40, 50, 60 pre-orders, that shit starts adding up, man. But that would be pretty shameful if true. But yeah, other than that, man, that's about it for the games I've been playing. Just really looking forward to finishing Nino Kuni for sure.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, there are a couple more things that I was interested in for 2013. I totally
Yeah,
forgot.
I'm sure we forgot, a lot, dude.
Shadowrun Returns and Wasteland 2 on the PC. I can't wait
Okay,
for those.
never. You're gonna stump me on the PC stuff, man. I have no idea
Well, I mean
what.
those are like not graphics processor intensive. If you played Shadowrun on the Super Nintendo, right?
I have played Shadowrun on the Super Nintendo and Genesis, yeah. And
Shadowrun Returns is like a direct sequel to those. It ties in those two games together and is a sequel.
oh my God, dude! Wow, that just like instantly has me intrigued, just by saying that.
I think it's also coming out on iPad if you're if you have one. I mean,
Oh man,
and it's in the same
nice.
style, like 2D sprites.
Wow, dude, I think I'm gonna definitely look into that because if that's a game that's gonna be right up my alley for sure, dude. Ties both because those were both two fantastic versions, man. The Super Nintendo and Genesis, those were great, dude.
Yeah, those are some of my favorite RPGs from the 16-bit era. I loved those games.
Definitely. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna be buying an iPad real soon here. I've read reports that they're working on the iPad 5 right now, and they said it was supposed to come out in April, but then I read another report today that says that it's not gonna be coming out until October. So I'm not really sure if I want to go ahead and get the iPad 4 now or just, I've waited this long, just wait out for the 5, who knows. But I can no longer ignore the amount of games on the iOS platform that I want to play. I just can't do it, dude.
Yeah, there's a bunch of good stuff on there. I haven't been playing that much recently, but I sometimes play games on my iPhone.
Hmm.
So there's a couple RPGs. There's a cool strategy RPG that's like a Call of Cthulhu game.
Okay. Yeah, did you play through that? We did a trade a long while back, and that was one of the games that I got for you. Have you played through that or?
Oh yeah, that one's on the Xbox. That one's like a first person. It's like a first person shooter, but it doesn't have a HUD and there's not really much shooting. But the one on the iPhone is actually like a strategy RPG.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, that's a game I want to add to my Xbox collection, man. I do want to get that, and I've been doing a lot of that, man. I've been finishing up because right now is such a great time to collect for the Xbox or even the PS2. The games are dirt cheap. I just picked up Cyanide, which is like a 2D shooter on the Xbox. That's a great game. And then Jaeger is another shooter that I picked up on the Xbox. Both exclusive to the system, and both really good games. So if anybody out there is collecting for the Xbox or PS2, now is a great time to get those collections finished up while they're so dirt cheap. You know, great systems too. I love the Xbox. I wanted to mention real quick. For Christmas I got a Jaguar, an Atari Jaguar, and
Oh,
I had never owned a Jag back in the day. A couple of my friends did, and I remember playing a lot of Alien versus Predator over at their place. Playing it over there, but I never owned one, and I got one for a really good deal. I've got Alien versus Predator. I've got Attack of the Mutant Penguins. I've got Power Drive Rally. I've got Cannon Fodder, and one more Brutal Sports Football and Kasumi Ninja.
oh, I, I think I had a Jaguar back in the day, but I mostly just played Theme Park. Uh, I don't. I really liked Theme Park on the Jaguar. At the time, it was like the best console version.
Yeah, man, I'm really impressed with Alien vs. Predator. I think it's held up very well. Attack of the Mutant Penguins is really cool. Power Drive Rally is a great like it's like a top 3/4 down comp, like kind of like Rock and Roll Racing or something, you know. It's a really cool little racer. But the one thing I'll say about the Jaguar is the controller, man, is like really it's complete shit, to be honest with you, man. The D-pad is horrible.
It's got
The
like 12
inlay,
buttons at the bottom there.
yeah, man. Like I've got all the overlays or whatever for the controller, which is that's kind of a cool idea, man. But it's just the D-pad is so shit, man. Horrible,
Yeah,
horrible controller.
the overlay thing was like when I remember when I got the Jaguar, I was just thinking this is like a crazy throwback to the Atari 5200. I remember because I actually had an Atari 5200 as a kid, and it the controllers had those button pads at the bottom the same way. So when I first got the Jaguar, I just thought like, wow, this is just like the 5200. It's gonna suck.
Yeah, and it's funny, man. I remember, back then I had a Genesis and a 3DO and a Sega CD, and I was all immersed in those. And I remember a lot of ridicule going around for the Jag, man, really ripping on that 64-bit, do the math. And now that I own one, I can see why that thing got so much shit because for it being 64-bit, I will say like the 3DO like totally shits on the Jag graphically, man. It really does. Like the 3DO was visually far superior to the Jaguar,
And the
and
problem with it is that it was out at a time when people were developing things for the Super Nintendo. It's just people weren't developing in 3D yet. So like the stuff that came out was like PlayStation level when it should have been much higher.
yeah, definitely, dude. I forgot to mention one game that I also have is Zool 2, which is like a platformer, and I'll be honest, man. I mean, it looks better than 16-bit games. It does, but I don't know how much better. And even that might be a bold statement. I think Vector Man and like Donkey Kong Country like rival how good like Zool 2 looks, and maybe like it's on par with like I even think that Tempo on the 32X might look better than that. So I mean, it definitely whatever had whatever the system had going on underneath the hood, it definitely wasn't 64-bit like in my opinion. I mean, it looks good, but not I would be quite embarrassed to go out and have to promote that thing back in the day as 64-bit and say it's like better than what's out because it really wasn't, dude. you know.
Yeah, no, I had one. I know how it is.
And I'm now that I've got the system, I'm kind of interested in getting the CD attachment for it, but I've done some research and it doesn't look like there's a whole lot like worth getting the system for. I mean, the Blue Lightning looks like not as good as the Lynx version, really. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't even know if it's worth my time, going into the CD, really.
It's probably not. I can't think of any games that I'd want to play on the CD that I couldn't play somewhere else.
Yeah, that's the issue I'm having, man, for sure. So it's cool to have the Jag, and I hear a lot of people. I did get the Neo Geo X for Christmas, and don't know what quite to think of that thing, man. I've heard quite a bit of negativity regarding that little system.
Yeah, the thing with it is like it's like an emulator. It's just like one of those emulator systems, you know what I mean? Except you can hook up a Neo Geo looking controller to it.
Yeah, yeah. I'll give it props for looking cool. It's cool. It has like a hollow Neo Geo system, and you open it up and like dock the handheld in there. Not very convenient for charging purposes. You can't just like plug it into the wall and charge it. You have to like turn it off and plug it into this thing, so you can't play it while it's charging. But other than that, I think I kind of got ripped off, to be honest. I mean, it's cool if you just want like a cheap way to play Neo Geo games, but I probably would recommend just getting the SNK like Collection Volume 1 or whatever. There's only like a few games that are on the system that aren't on that collection, and I feel a bit ripped off, to be honest with you. I mean, in hindsight, would I still go back and pay $200 for that? No, I wouldn't. I got it as a gift, so it's all good. But not too impressed with that, man.
Yeah, I
You
didn't
got
see a lot of people who were overly impressed with it. Anyone who had played normal Neo Geo before
Yeah,
were seemingly not impressed with it.
yeah, yeah. And I've heard like the ROMs like run better on the PSP. They like look better on the PSP than the actual. It doesn't seem like a very quality built little system. I don't think SNK did it themselves. I think it was like another company that did it or whatever.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
licensed from SNK. It wasn't built by SNK.
yeah, and
I,
you can definitely tell.
I saw that Luke Morse one like took one apart and showed the pieces compared to the pieces of a an actual Neo Geo. Like he took apart one
Yeah.
of the controllers and stuff and showed the difference between the pieces,
Uh-huh.
and the Neo Geo X stuff was looked like it was made in a cheaper way than the originals.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Yeah, he wasn't too positive of that for sure. I saw that and I was just like, wow, I kind of agree. I kind of agree with what this guy's saying. And you know me, man, I'm a pretty like positive person. I really don't find a lot of faults where a lot of people are nitpicky about stuff and a lot of people bitch about stuff. I'm a pretty open-minded guy and not a lot of things bother me. Like PlayStation All Stars, I didn't call it a Smash Brothers clone. I don't bitch about things, and I'm not too happy with that. You know, but
Yeah,
you
I'm
know
with you
you
there.
can't win them all, I guess. But I don't know, man. That's about uh, that's about it for the new acquisitions and games I've been playing, man. You want to wrap it up?
All right, I guess that will be the end. So I guess that's the end of our first episode of this podcast that will eventually have a name.
Yeah, yeah. It was. I gotta say, it was great to be back, man. I love bullshitting with you, dude. You've been a great friend to me here on YouTube. I'm glad I met you, and I'm happy to be doing this podcast with you. And if you guys have stuck around to the end here and listened to it, congratulations. And leave us some comments, man. I wanna get like some interaction here. Ask us questions. Tell us what you've been playing. Tell us what you're looking forward to. Let's get some interaction and some good questions. And I'm coming back. I'm gonna bring the channel back strong. And no room for drama, no room for bullshit. Just you want to watch some rare Sega games, some rare Sega consoles, rare RPGs. Games that aren't talked about a lot. You know where to come. Games of War. And I want to thank you, Joe, for having me and letting me be a part of this with you, man. It's a good time. Always fun talking to you, dude.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's good to have you back. I'm sure a lot of people are glad you'll be back, and I just like doing the podcast with you. You're a good guy to talk to about games.
Definitely, man. You know your shit. We got very similar taste. And I hope that people want me back. I hope there's still a place for me in YouTube. And hey, if you hate me, that's great too. I'm sure there will be a lot of you that do, but I'm human. So we will be doing this again, man. We're gonna do a weekly thing, right? Hopefully, weekly.
Yeah, weekly or bi-weekly, depending on how lazy I am with the editing. But yeah, we'll do something.
Cool, man. Until next episode, bro.
All right, see you next time.